Okay. Representative Jordan Harris is a pioneer in criminal justice and education reforms for the Pennsylvania legislature. In 2012, he represented the 186th Legislative District in the Democratic Caucus Whip. Harris was recently called to serve again in the 2021-2022 season of the Caucus Whip, and he is the second African American to fill the whip position, which is a very high title. He is more than qualified with a bachelor's degree in government and political affairs from Millersville University and a master's in education from Cabrini College. June 2018 was a milestone for Harris when he co-created Pennsylvania's Clean State Law, and Governor Tom Wolf passed it. This law has sealed over 40 million criminal records, so it's safe to say the law has done well. I could go on and on about Mr. Harris's very successful career, but I will let him take it from here.
All right. Good afternoon. As said, my name is Jordan Harris. I am a Pennsylvania State Representative. I represent the 186th Legislative District, which is parts of South and Southwest Philadelphia. So Point Breeze, Grays Ferry, Graduate Hospital, and King Sessing are all parts of my legislative district. So let me start off by asking, who knows? Can you raise your hand? Who in here knows what a state representative is? And if you don't, it's cool. But who knows what that job entails? Who wants to take a guess? Take a guess. What do you think? Go ahead. What's your name? Xavier. What you think?
Somebody that represents the state.
That's a good play on words. State representative. Somebody that represents the state. You're clever. Good job. All right. It is that. It's a little bit more. Who else? Who wants to take a stab? Go ahead. What's your name? Anton. All right. What's up? Okay, that's a part of it. What else? Anybody else want to take a shot? Right over here. But wait, you got on something that say the Lakers, and I don't really rock with that. I'm from Philly, but I'm gonna let you live today. Go ahead.
I'm guessing that someone who speaks from the face for head when it comes to anything that pertains to the state.
Okay, that's a part of it. One more. Anybody else want to take a shot? Young lady right here, you was like, go ahead. What you was thinking? What were you thinking? Give it a shot. Alana. Give it a shot. Actually, that is at the surface, at the foundation. That is actually the 100% answer. That I am the voice for more than 62,000 citizens. Say again. Yes, it is intimidating, and I'll explain that in a little while. Thanks for that question. So, at the foundation of what I do, I am the one voice for the 62,000 people that live in my district. So, if you live in Point Breeze, Grays Ferry, Graduate Hospital, or King Sessing, if you're 18, you get to vote for somebody to represent your voice in our state capital, which is Harrisburg. There are 203 state representatives in the whole state. Why is that? That's because every section of the state, right, has a person that represents the voice of all of the people who live in that particular area. Now, when you say represent the voice, what are we representing their voice on? Well, we're representing their voice on any and everything that is state related, right? So there are two real major functions of a state representative, as well as a state senator, because there's two chambers. There's the state house and the state senate. I'll explain that later. But anyway, so there's two major things that we do. The first thing is that, and probably the biggest thing that we have to do every single year is the state's budget, okay? Anybody know what a budget is? You know what a budget is? Somebody can tell me real quick, what is a budget? Go ahead, you halfway there. I see you. Go ahead, brother. What's your name? Say it one side. I can't hear you.
Eaton Anderson.
Eaton, I like that. Okay. What is a budget?
Budget is the fixed amount of money that someone is willing to spend on a certain thing.
So that's half of it. That is correct. A budget is basically how much money is coming in and how much money is going out. And how you're going to spend that. Like, what are you going to spend that money on? So if you're an adult, right? Actually, y'all, this is a summer job. You got a budget. You going to get a check. Y'all get paid what, every week? Every what? Every 2 weeks? Oh, that sucks. When I was in youth work, we got a check every week. We was getting that. But anyway, you're going to get your check, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to look at it. You're going to wonder who is FICA and all these other folks that's digging in your pocket before you get your check. But you're also, so that's your money coming in. That's how much money you come in. That's called revenue. Okay? On one side of the budget is revenue. That's coming in. That's what's coming in. Then you got to decide what you're going to spend your money on. You might have a cell phone bill. You might want some sneakers. You might want to take your girl out to the movies, or whatever you want to do. That's how you're going to spend it. That's an expenditure. So you got your revenue is what's coming in. Expenditure is how it goes out. The state has the same thing. Now, ours is a little bit more complicated than that, but it's the same concept. We have money coming in, right? And then we have to decide how much of it we're going to spend and then what departments we're going to spend it in. So how much money do you think the state brings in every year in our budget? How much do you think we bring in to spend? How much do you think? Come on, give me a guess. Go ahead. 1.2 what? Million? That's a rounding error for the state's budget. If we mess up on a rounding error, we might spend a 1.2 billion, 2.2 million. How much? Come on, somebody give me how much do you think we have in our state budget? Money, yearly, yes. I can't hear you. Say it again. It's more than 1.5 billion. Yes. It's not a trillion. That would be the federal government, but that's not a trillion. It's more than 1.5 billion. It's less than a trillion. Yes.
Is it 3 million?
It's more than 3 billion. Go ahead. It's way more than 5 billion. Right next to it. 26 billion? Nope, it was more than that this year. Right in the back. Yep. Go ahead. How much you want to get? What? Say one more time. I can't. 40 million? No. You were close, though, if you would have said something else. You want to try? Last one. 75 what? Who? No. This year's budget, we budgeted for $42 billion. That's why I said you were close. You said 40 million. You said billion, and you were close. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you all that. I got you. Give me a second. $42 billion, okay? And here's the thing. We actually took in more than that. That's just what we budgeted for this year to spend. At the end of the year, we're going to have money left on our books, okay? $42 billion. Let me tell you how we get that money. Y'all going to give us some of that money, okay? Because when you get your, who said, what's that word? Say it. Say it louder. Taxes, okay? That is one way we get that money. So before y'all get y'all check, I'm going to dig in your pockets, okay? Run me my money. You see what I'm saying? Give me my check. You're going to get taxed, okay? And there's several ways we do this. So actually, y'all don't get this part because y'all too young. Personal income tax. So all the adults in the room, right? We get every year, there's a personal income that the state takes from us, okay? It's a percentage of your overall salary, right? That's one. So it's personal income tax. The other way we tax is every time you go to the store, right? You go to McDonald's, they say something costs $1, but it costs you 108. Why does it cost you 108? Well, because there's a city tax, and then there's a state tax on all of those things that you're buying. There's some exceptions to that, but for the most part, whenever you buy something, there's a sales tax on that. That money, a portion of that comes to the state as well. And then large corporations, large businesses that do business in the Commonwealth, they pay taxes as well, right? So when you total all of that up, and there's other monies that come in, but for the most part, that's where we get our money from, okay? Everybody understand that so far? Now, how do we, the second half of that, that's what we get in, is how do we spend it, okay? How do we spend $40 billion, okay? Number one, the largest line item in the state's budget is called the Department of Human Services, okay? That is nursing homes. That is child care. That is anything that helps, for the most part, that helps people. The human services line item is the largest, okay? The second largest is the Department of Education. That's the money that goes to the schools. Whether you go to a district school, whether you go to a charter school, those schools get money from the state to fund those schools. The third line item, and I hate to say this, but the third largest line item is the Department of Corrections. That's the prison system. People do stuff, throw you behind in prison. You're going to sit there, but the state is paying for that. We're paying for your food, your medical. We're paying for the correctional officers. We're paying for the lights, for the building, all of that. We also have stuff like DCNR, which is about our parks. Then you have Environmental Protection Agency, which is about clean water, clean air, and monitoring those things. And then we have DCED, which is Department of Community and Economic Development. We give out grants for businesses, for development, for projects, building buildings, senior homes, all of those kind of things is how we spend the $42 billion. Now, I tell you that, okay? I tell you all of that because every single year I get to vote on that budget. I get to vote yes, I get to vote no. And I've gotten to do that since 2013, okay? Now, since I'm in leadership, okay, so you got all of the Democrats in the House of Representatives, it's 90 of us. I am one of the 7 members in my caucus that's called leadership. So all of those Democrats got together and they said, these are the folks that we want to lead our caucus. So not only am I the voice for the 62,000 people that live in my district, I am one of the leading voices for all of those Democrats in the House of Representatives because they elected me in our small election to be the number 2 Democrat. The number 1 Democrat is the leader. The number 2 is the whip. Number 3 is our appropriations chair. So I'm the number 2 Democrat in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, right? So when the budget is getting discussed, decided, and when we're moving numbers around, I am one of the folks that is helping to decide, no, we're not going to just do 10 million, we're going to do 20 million. No, we're not going to do 50 million, we're going to do 100 million, And I am responsible for getting the votes to make all of that happen, okay? So that's the first part. The second part of what we do is we pass state law. So the fact that you got to go to school for 180 days, the fact that, you can't kill somebody, the fact that certain drugs are illegal, all of these different laws that are state laws, we pass those laws. I'm the person who counts all of the votes. When any of these pieces of legislation come up on the board, I'm the person who counts the Democratic votes to decide whether we have the votes to support it, whether we're going to try to kill it, whatever we're going to try to do. I'm the person who counts all of those votes, okay? So that's what I do. That's what I do, one, as a state representative, being the voice for the 62,000 people that I represent, but number 2, being the Democratic whip in the House of Representatives and being one of the leaders in the Pennsylvania General Assembly, okay? Now, I do all of this, right, growing up from South Philadelphia. I grew up at 17th and Dickinson, okay? My mother still lives in the same house that I grew up in. I'm the product of a single-parent household. I know who my pop is. We got a great relationship. But growing up, it was just me and my mom. My grandmother lived across the street. She was a school teacher. But that was who I was. I went to public school my whole life. I even went to public university. I went to Millersville University to get my undergrad in government political affairs. I have a master's degree from Cabrini College in education, right? So that's who I am, 38 years old. I first got elected when I was 27 years old. That's when I first got elected. I'm 38 years old now. And I am just like any of you sitting here. When I was 14 years old, I had the same type of summer work experience. Back in those times, they gave us these bright orange shirts. I think my mom still got my bright orange shirt. I'm not rocking it. It's too tight and it's too loud. I'm not wearing it. Anyway, I was in the same seat, right? Listening to somebody come and talk to me about what they do, and I'm sitting there like, yeah, that ain't gonna ever be me. And then guess what? I grew up and it was. I sit here before you today saying that I was in this very same summer work experience. Okay? And now I do what I do. And I tell you that because I want you to understand something. I am no different than many of you sitting in this very room. All the great stuff that I've been blessed to do, and we just passed the budget, and I put money in the budget. I worked on a plan that's called Home Help Repairs. It's going to give $50,000 away to eligible folks to fix up their homes. We put $125 million in the budget. I passed a bill called Clean Slate that help people clear up their records. To date, now we're at 60 million criminal records sealed. I've done a whole lot with funding for education and a whole lot of other things that I've been able to do. I've met 4 presidents. Whenever the president comes to town, they typically call me and tell me, come meet him at the airport or come meet him at this event and say hello to the president. Just 3 weeks ago, I was with Vice President Harris. I walked in the room, she's like, what's up, cuz? I mean, we're not related, but our last names are Harris, so, say what's up, cuz. It's fun. I do those things. I've been blessed to do all of those things. I want you to understand something. I am literally no different than any of you were when I was your age. And I say that because I want you to understand that, where you are in life today, good, bad, or indifferent, that's not the end. I tell people this all the time, right? This is how I look at it. Your life is like a book. It's like a story. It's a book, right? The first couple chapters of your book, you will have no control over. You're like the character in the story, but you have no control over writing this book for the most part. You don't have control over where you grow up. You don't have control over who your parents are. You don't have control over that neighborhood you grow up in. Now, you do have control over you staying up and doing your schoolwork or talking on the phone to one of your friends or being on TikTok all the time. Although you can follow me on TikTok. I got 40,000 followers on TikTok, and I got a blue check mark. I'm busting. Don't hate. My TikTok be popping. Anyway, you have control over those things. But for the most part, a lot of what you do on the day-to-day is dictated by someone else. But here's what I want you to understand. There is going to come a time. If you're in high school, that time is going to come very soon, where that pen is taken out of the hands of your parents or your guardians, and that pen is going to be given over to you. And now you're going to be in control of writing the rest of the chapters of your story. You're going to be in control. What grade you in? You're about to write this story yourself. What about you? Huh? You're writing this, you're in control of writing the prelude to probably one of the most important parts of the beginning of this story. Why do I say that? Because what you do in high school right now is going to determine whether you go to college, what type of college you go to, what type of programs you can get into, all of that kind of stuff. You're writing that right now. What about you? Right there, you 3. What grade? What? Y'all all going to 12th grade. So you're at like the precipice of this. No, yeah. No. Yeah, it's going to happen. You can't slow this train down. You're about to go into 12th grade. This is it for that first part of this story. Right? I want all of you to understand that. And here's the thing, and I want you to say, it's okay to not know. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be fearful, right? It's okay to not know what you want to do. All of those things are okay. What's not okay is to not be working hard at something. What's not okay is to be lazy. What's not okay is to not explore. And what's not okay is to not take opportunities because you were afraid. Seriously. If I was afraid, I would have never ran for office. I could have lost. Let me tell you something. I had to quit my job to run for office. I had a nice little job working at the city in my own office. I was good. I had to quit my job to run for state representative. I had to quit my job because you can't work at the city and run for office. I had to quit my job. Not only did I have to quit my job, my house that I had bought in 2007, I ran in 2012. My house went into a foreclosure because I couldn't pay my mortgage. my car got repossessed. I had a beautiful Cadillac DTS. It was white. I had it chromed out and the windows was tinted. I had my diamond in the back. I had that sunroof top. Digging in the scene with the gangster lean. Y'all too young to know about that, but all of the older folks in here, y'all know what I'm talking about. I was killing it, right? Car got repossessed. I want you to understand something. Mortgage, my house went into foreclosure. My car got repossessed because I was chasing after my dream. Thank God I won. If I didn't win, I don't know. Would have been rough for you, boy, but I won. I was able to get my house out of foreclosure, kept my house. I didn't get the car back. It's cool. I got a state car. State gives me a car, so I'm cool. I've been riding a state car for the last 10 years. You know what I mean? I know, it ain't no Cadillac. It's a Ford Explorer, but it's cool. I'm all right with that. I don't have to pay a car note every month. When you get older, you will understand why that is a good thing, right? And I'm the boss. It's the best part. I am the boss. Every 2 years I get elected. And once I get elected, I'm the boss. I have a staff of between Philly and Harrisburg, like 11 people. That's Ryan. Ryan works for me. He works in my office. He's one of my fraternity brothers. He went to Cheney University, got a degree in, what's your degree in, Ryan? His degree is in social relations. He's a proud member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. It's my frat brother, and he works for me. Ryan started off as an intern in my office, and when he graduated from college, I hired him full time. His salary, pension, and benefits. He has a beautiful baby girl named Justice. He is the father of Justice. That's his. Y'all get it, right? You get to play on words. It's pretty dope, right? But he works for me. I have a staff. That's why it's Friday. I don't, on Fridays in the summer, I don't get dressed up unless I have to. So I got on Jordans and a polo because I'm the boss. You can have all of these things. Just put the time in and put the work in. Remember, I was sitting in these very same seats, just like you. And now every single day I get to wake up and literally live out my wildest dreams. Actually, I'm not even living out my wildest dreams. You know why? Because I could not have even dreamed some of the blessings and things that I've been able to do. It's just that crazy. Somewhere, my ancestors is somewhere in heaven having a ball laughing at how blessed I've been able to be in my life. And all of that can happen for you too. Just put in the work. If y'all got some questions, I'll answer any questions for y'all. Y'all can ask me anything. Don't get too crazy though. I ain't, It's like, no, I got you. What's up? You gotta tell me your name though. I can't hear you. What's your name? All right, now this is what I want y'all to understand. The most important thing when you're introducing yourself is your name. All right? Most important thing. Now, your name is Legacy. It's a beautiful name. It's a unique name, and I'm going to remember your name. But you never know. I could give you a job. How old are you? You're 14. I can give you a job in my office. You don't know that. I just told you I got a staff of 11 people. I'm the boss. The budget for the caucus, not the state, but just the caucus is almost $70 million. I can give you a job if I wanted to. I say that because when y'all introduce yourself, get in the practice of making sure that people know your name. It is how you are identified. My name is Jordan A. Harris, okay? That is how I market myself. If you look on my parking spot at the Capitol, it says the Honorable Jordan A. Harris. If you look at my nameplate on my desk, the Honorable Jordan A. Harris, people remember my name. So I want to make sure, if you don't learn anything else, make sure when you introduce yourself that you're saying your name because people are going to remember that. Go ahead, Legacy. What's your question? How do my what? Oh, damn, okay. That's the first question? I was expecting something easy, like, what's the most fun thing about your job? what did you eat for lunch yesterday? Something. Like, how does your race play into it? So I'm gonna tell you a really interesting story, Legacy. And I want everybody to be paying attention, listen to this. Because I'm gonna be real open and transparent with y'all when I tell y'all this story. So if you didn't know, I'm black. But when I first went to Harrisburg, right, and I started to serve, I would be in rooms where I was the only black person in the room. Okay. Pennsylvania has like 11-12% African Americans. It's even, when you think about the representation as far as the House and the Senate, when you look at that, there's just not a lot of African Americans there. So I would go into rooms every day in Harrisburg where I was the only black person. I would come to the city and have meetings with different folks where I was the only black person in the room. And for the first few years, I said to myself, Jordan, you can't always talk about black issues. Because if you talk about black issues all the time, they're going to only think about you as the guy who only talks about black issues. And I didn't want to get, pigeonholed into only talking about black issues. That's what I said to myself. I was wrong. You know why I was wrong? Because if I'm the only black person in the room and I'm not going to talk about black issues, then who is? So what happened to me, Legacy, is that I got confident in my blackness. And I just said, this is who I am. So if I'm in a room, I'm going to talk about black people. I'm going to talk about black issues. And I'm going to talk about how whatever it is that we're discussing in this room is going to affect black people. Because if I'm not in this room talking about those issues, nobody else is going to. So, Dr. Cornel West, who was a person I've had a real opportunity to spend a significant amount of time with, Dr. Cornel West says it like this: a love for all people starts first with the love of my people. Love for all people starts first with the love for my people. Meaning, I can't love everybody else if I don't first love my own folks. Black folk, people from South Philly, people from Philadelphia, my folk, right? And that's not just germane or just, that's not just something for black people. If you're Irish, you're going to start looking at things from how does it affect Irish Americans. If you're Chinese American, you're going to look at it, how does it affect Chinese Americans? If you're Hispanic American, how does it affect Hispanic Americans first? And then you look at how it affects everybody else. So I became comfortable, Legacy, in my blackness, and understood that my race does affect every single thing that I do in Harrisburg. People look at me, how they think about me, all of those things. I am a representation, and I'm okay with that. But it helps me. It's kind of the lens by how I see things. You know how you put on glasses and just how you look at it and take the glasses off and look. It's the lens of how I see things. How is this going to first affect black folk, black Philadelphians, and then how it affects other folk and other people on a larger scale. But that's how my race impacts what I do. Understanding that there's a lot of disparities in government because of your race. So how do we, negate those disparities and level the playing field for all people? For all people. But how do we level the playing field so that race is less and less a factor? What else? I can't hear you, bro.
My name is Rasheen. Also, when I was researching you, I saw that you were part of something called the LGBTQ plus Equality Caucus. I wanted to know if you could tell me what that was.
So, LGBTQ Equality Caucus, we have all these different caucuses in the House and in the Senate, quite honestly, where it's basically just members who get together who have a certain viewpoint on things, maybe to support an issue. Like I'm a part of the PASHE caucus, the Pennsylvania State System of Higher Education, because I went to Millersville. So I'm part of the Black Caucus. Actually, I'm a former chairman of the Black Caucus. I served as chairman of the Black Caucus before I went into leadership. These caucuses are typically issue-based, right? So, I come at it from this perspective. I don't care who you love, right? I believe that you should not be discriminated against. I believe that you should be given all of the rights and privileges and benefits that everybody else has. And I think it's our responsibility as a government to protect folks in the LGBTQ and questioning community. And so I joined that caucus. I just tell you, my uncle, who was like a dad to me, is a gay black man. And what I understand is that he already had some challenges in life just being a black man. When you add on being a gay black man, it added a whole nother level. And we have to be in the business of providing justice and protection for all people, regardless of their sexual orientation. That's why I joined the caucus. What else? So I'm gonna get to you, but one, and then we're gonna come up front. I don't know who you are, bro.
My name is Tanis.
Say it one more time.
Tanis. Hello, my name is Tanis.
Okay, go ahead. What's your question?
Does racism only affect one culture?
Say that one more time. I didn't hear. Does racism only affect one culture? Explain. So here's the thing. Let me explain this. Let me start from here. There's a difference between racism and bigotry, and a lot of times we confuse the two. Okay. Bigotry is about thinking that that solely because of your racial ethnicity that you're better than folks. Racism is when you take that and enshrine that into law, or whether it's de jure, meaning de jure or de facto. One means enshrined into law as in codified, meaning the law says it, and the other is, it happens not by law but by practice per se, de jure and de facto. The reason why I want to differentiate between bigotry and racism, because in the 40s, 50s, 60s, post-Reconstruction, you had straight up racism in the sense that there was a separation of races that was enshrined in the law. Okay? Bus boycott. Black folk, you can't sit on the front of the bus. That was the law, right? Black folk, you can't go to certain restaurants. You can't. That was the law. That was racism. That was a class of a race of people having superiority, but having the power, the governmental authority to have the power over that. When you do not have that authority, that is bigotry. Okay? So, for me, I do think that there are racist elements still in our government to this day. But I also think what we've expanded from is not just racism in America, but it's also classism. Let me explain the difference. Racism, color of your skin. Class is about economics, the economic class. So poor people, working class people, middle class, and the rich and the wealthy. Here's why I break it down this way. Because there are certain things that I believe happen in government because of the color of your skin. But then there are many other things that happen in government, in my view, that happens because of what you can afford and what you can't afford. For example, I'm going to get in trouble with this one, but I'm going to go there. Education. Okay? Education, the education system, and the way it is set up in this Commonwealth is partially racist, but more and more classist. Here's why. We fund schools in the Commonwealth based off of property tax. So that means if you live in a $50,000 home, you're going to get a $50,000 education. If you live in a $5 million home, you're going to get a $5 million education based off of the funding of the district based off of the value of the home. I'm going to say that again. I want y'all to pay attention. If you live in a $50,000 home, your home, that house that you live in, is assessed property tax. That property tax, a portion of that goes to fund your local school district. So if I got a $50,000 home, my property tax might be like this. If I have a $5 million home, property tax is like this. That dictates what money goes into the school system, right? Now, it is partially racist because a lot of those areas is black folk, brown folk, Hispanic folk. But it's more classist because it's about the finance. Because there's poor white folk who are stuck in the same situation. Right? So there are certain segments of our government that, yes, are still racist and play a factor, but there are also segments of our government that are classist. And here's where I think black folk, Hispanic folk, actually can gain traction, as if we start to talk more about those issues from a class perspective, because you start to bring more people into your fight who will advocate with you because they poor just like you. Does that make sense? You understand what I'm saying? All right. Yes. What's your name? I don't know who you are.
I'm Damani.
Say one more time.
I'm Damani.
There you go. I like that. All right.
I just wanted to ask you like an iconic question. Have you met any other like celebrities other than the vice president?
Yeah, a lot of stuff. Pretty cool. Let me see. Who? So like I met political celebrities like Bill Clinton, Obama, Hillary Clinton. I met all those people. Obama cool. Like Obama, like I'm on tape, so I'm gonna say it the right way. But Obama gonna come in. What's your name, sir? So Obama gonna come in, he gonna give Greg a handshake. Hello, Greg, how are you? Obama gonna walk up to me like, what's up, man? What's up with you? Like, he gonna give me the brother man handshake. Like the first time he did that, I was like, that was kind of cool. Like, yeah, hey, what's up, Jay? You good? I'm like, oh, what's up, Mr. President? Not saying you're not cool, Greg. You might be cool. You know what I'm saying? But he gave me the brother man handshake. So Obama was cool to me, but I met a lot of people. Diddy, Jay-Z. I actually have a relationship with Mike Rubin, who's currently one of the owners of the Sixers, but he's selling his stake in the Sixers. He owns the company Fanatic. Meek, I went to court with Meek a couple times to help him. Huh?
Were you his lawyer or something?
No, I wasn't his lawyer, but like, I know his folks. He knew me. We've done some stuff in the past. He got in some trouble. The judge lives in my district. I was there like a character reference, like, yo, give him a second chance, you know what I mean? I've spoken at some of the rallies in support of, some of the criminal justice stuff we've done. Like, if Meek walk in here right now, Meek gonna walk up like, yo, what's up, Jordan? I'm like, what's up, bro? Fred, who else some of the people I met? Drew Hill, Music Soul, Jasmine Sullivan. I had Jasmine in my car before we was riding around, going somewhere, do something. She's about to perform for me at one of my concerts. I mean, most of the folks that y'all know, a lot of them I met. Like some of them, I ain't gonna lie, I felt like I am starting to get a little older, because there was a time where I knew everybody. Now, like the boy Pooh Shiesty that wear the mask, like, I don't know none of them dudes. I'm not hanging out with them. It's too hot and you got a mask on. I'm not doing that. Like, I can't even rock with you. Like, so some of them people, they be like, oh, such and such is gonna be here, you wanna come through? I'm like, no, I'm good, bro, I'm gonna stay home. But I've met a lot of what people will call celebrities or famous people. And can I tell you something? They just like you. I've been out to dinner with a lot of those folks. They eat the same thing you eat. They might have a little bit more money. They might have a little bit more following on social media, but they just like you and I. The best thing is when they're calling you, asking you to help them with something. Because now it's a different relationship. Now it's no longer, oh, can I take this picture because I think you're cool. Now it's like we're actually working together on something. So now the dynamic shifts. Yes.
My name is Mia Lynn.
Say it one more time.
Mia Lynn.
Mia Lynn? All right. So,
This is a two-part question.
why you gotta be different? Go ahead.
Have you heard of the Don't Say Gay bill going on in Florida? And if so, how do you feel about it when they
Yeah, that's stupid. That's my answer. It's stupid. Like, I don't like people just be on some dumb stuff. I was gonna say something else, but I don't want to get in trouble. I mean, here's the thing. Like, laws are the Constitution, which is the foundation of our government, the U.S. Constitution, but the state also has a Constitution. Back when it was founded, black folk were 3/5 of a person. I was wrong. We fixed those things with the amendments, right? Since then, the law, Constitution has always been about how to protect people, not discriminate against people. Supposed to be about protecting folks. What we see now is folks in elected office using the government to discriminate against people and to take away rights. And here's the thing, and this is what folks have to understand. What you believe in your household, that's up to you and your household. The government's job is to protect everybody, regardless of what individuals think. For example, Roe v. Wade. You can feel however you want to feel about abortion. You can support it, you want to get one, you can support it, you could be against it, like that's not for me. But that's not what the government's job is. The government's job is not to dictate how you personally feel about it. The government's job is to, in my view, is supposed to say, if that's what you want to do, you should be protected. It's not advocating for you to get one. It's not telling you not to do that. But what it is saying is, if that's what you decide, this is a health care procedure, therefore you are protected. The government's job ain't supposed to say, you can love this person, you're not supposed to love that person. The government's supposed to say, this is what you want to do. You're protected. Particularly if your actions do not harm the greater good. Who a person sleep with don't affect me. I got my own problems with my own girl. We was beefing last night. We cool now. We was beefing last night. Don't tell her I told y'all that. But we was beefing last night. I got my own problems. Anybody else in here who got a significant other who married, they will tell you, I ain't trying to be in nobody else's business. Got my own. So I think it's stupid, and I think it's discriminatory, and I think people are using their own religious beliefs and trying to push their religion onto other people, and that's not, in my view, what we're supposed to be doing in 2022. What other questions y'all got? Anybody else? Oh, all right, bet. Go ahead. Well, say it again, because you trying to get me to remember your name. Like Legacy. I got Legacy. Anton. That was you, right? All right. Maylee. I'm sorry. Say it again. Mia Lynn. I was close. You want me to remember your name? Go ahead. Alana. I'm going to remember your name because there was a girl I was in high school with. Her name is Alana Cassell. Alana was friends with one of my homies, but now Alana is married. She got kids, and her husband. Hold on, no. I know this sound like a long drawn out story, but Alana's husband is the grandson of Mr. Chu, and the playground in my district is named for him. It was a long story to get there. I'm just gonna say Go ahead.
Pennsylvania ever created if Pennsylvania ever created a law that forced you to move, like because of your own morals or your own mindset that you have, what would that law be?
You been watching The Handmaid's Tale or something? So if Pennsylvania created a law to force you to move. I don't know, because I don't know how that would happen legally, and if it did, no, I'm explaining to you. So I don't know how that would happen, but even if there was a way to do that, somebody would challenge the constitutionality of that said law, because I don't know how you would. I mean, look, it's 2022, and some of the stuff that I never thought would happen in this country is starting to happen. So I don't rule anything out. I just think we need to be prepared for everything, and that's why folks need to be voting and all that stuff, but that's a whole other issue. But I would think somebody would challenge that law on constitutionality. So that's the best answer I can give you, if I understand correctly. Yes, sir. You ain't had your hand up? All right, well, forget you then. You ain't no question? Did you? Somebody else had their hand up. Okay, we're going to go here, and then we're going to go back to legacy. And if anybody else have any questions, come on.
My name is Cassidy Clark.
I'm sorry?
My name is Cassidy Clark.
See, Cassidy Clark. See, she said her whole name. She wants you to know. That's my name in place that resume come across your desk one day. Cassidy Clark, what's up?
I'm not trying to be difficult. I got 3 questions, but super personal.
Come on, you got 3 questions? Like, it's Friday. You got 3 questions? Go ahead. Oh, snap. Hold on one second. Ryan, call Chris. Tell Bickley and Biddle that I'm running late. Tell Chris to get on the Zoom. All they want is some information on funding for this CHOP program. I'm going to support it. I just need to find out how we're going to fund it. So they need to fill out that form. Yeah, tell Chris. Tell him to jump on the Zoom. I just need all of the details on it so that I could talk to the appropriations folks to see where we're going to find the money.
All right. First off, you made that association with Choose. It's about Choose Playground.
Yes.
Yeah, I used to go to middle school there. Do you know an area close by 18th and Bainbridge?
Yeah.
Okay, that's where my grandma used to live.
That's my district. I remember all that area.
That's funny because it's so weird because a lot of people I know or have like some celebrities, they're like always in South Philly, in the area that I live at. Yeah. It's just so weird because I skip that area.
We be popping in South Philly, yeah.
Those are my first 2 questions. Okay. My last question is for the Pennsylvania LGBTQ caucus. Yeah. In your own words, what are your efforts to make sure that the parental rights in education bill doesn't integrate itself into our educational system and our school district?
Yeah. So I hate to sound cliche as an elected official, but that's why voting is important, right? Because you have to put the right folks in office so they can vote on these things. And that's House, Senate, and that's the governors. There's a governor's race coming up in November, so we got to be very mindful on who we're electing when we vote for those things. But what my caucus is doing, 1, we educate folks on any of those kind of things when they're coming up. But 2, we raise awareness and we fight on the floor of the House and the Senate to push back against any of those negative and discriminatory pieces of legislation that would affect the LGBTQ community. I have 3 members of my caucus who are 2 guys openly gay, 1 woman's openly bisexual, who are part of the community, and we stand with them as allies to support their right not to be discriminated against. All right, bye.
Hello, my name is Ethan Anderson.
Right, I like him, right? He gets a job. He gets a job. Go ahead.
But way back at the start of this, you said that you fund something in your district here in Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you plan on funding to deal with the rapid gun violence that's been happening around this area?
Yes, it's a very good question. So there's several. I have extensive views on the gun violence piece, but there's several things. So what we've done in this state, we've done other things in the past, but just in this state budget, we have tens of millions of dollars for preventative programs. So that's workforce development, that's intervention, all those kind of things. We have I think it's about $90 million in the budget to fund those kind of programs with grassroots organizations throughout the state who are doing the work. That money is going through something called PCCD, which is Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. Community groups can apply for those dollars, and then the state will fund those organizations who are doing the work in the community. The other side to that is that there's money put away for law enforcement as well, for law enforcement to get better tools, to hire folks to do what they believe is necessary in order to go after guns in our community. Let me be clear on where I stand on gun violence, okay? And I'm gonna be very, very direct with y'all. We need to lock people up. That's part of it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Some people need a timeout. Seriously. I've been to half the prisons in this Commonwealth, and I've talked to lifers, people who are doing life. And some of them, and what a lot of them will tell you is that there was nothing that you could tell them at 19, 20, 21 to stop them from doing some of the things they were doing. Some of our young people are in their life, they picking up guns, and they need timeouts. Now, I'm not saying that some of them don't, I'm not saying some of them need to be locked up forever, but some of them need a timeout. That's the first thing. Got to restore the order, right? Then there's a second group of folks who are on the edge. They dibbling and dabbling. They going to school, they doing okay, but they still playing in the streets. We need to have interventions and interventive services for those young people. That has to happen at the coordination level, meaning the school district, the DHS, Department of Rec, all of these agencies need to work together. Because what I can tell you as a former school teacher, I used to be a school teacher, and anybody in this room that works with young people can tell you, I know when a young person is struggling in 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. It ain't no shock when, little Johnny gets 17 and he pick up a gun. You knew he was a badass in 7th grade and needed help. Like, let's be honest. Y'all go to school with people that you like, I don't want to hang out with him, he gonna get in trouble. Like, you already know that person is headed down the wrong path. There has to be interventions where the school district is saying, like, we need help with these young people, and then DHS is coming in with the services to help them. I didn't say lock them up, I'm saying help them. And then the third part is just preventative, is we need to open up more rec centers, more swimming pools, have more enrichment programs for young people so we make sure that they don't get to that second level where they need intervention. So we have put significant resources in our state budget to do some of those things. But the other part, the second tier, is really about coordination between some of our city agencies where they're actually working together and sharing information and providing the interventions that are necessary for young people that are struggling. You got another question? Go ahead. Follow up. Go ahead, brother.
When it comes to guns on the streets, how easily accessible they are in today's society, if you had the choice, would you say that guns should be completely outlawed in general?
So let me be honest. I own several guns myself. I have a license to carry. Okay? I'm gonna answer your question honestly. Because guns are legal in Pennsylvania and in the country, and because some folks who shouldn't have guns have them, I got them. I support gun ownership because I want you to be able to protect your household. If I was king and I had my way, I would get rid of all guns altogether. I want you to understand, like, that's not a conflicting answer. If it was my way, like I used to live in London, you can't have a gun, right? Like, there's very, very, very strict gun laws. Like, you can't. If I could have it my way, it would be like that. But since it's not like that, I support law-abiding citizens to legally possess firearms. Now, if you are not in a place where you should have a gun, you shouldn't have a gun. We should track down all of these illegal guns. We should find out where they're coming from. And when we find out who are providing these guns in our community, we should prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. There was a lady who got locked up, and it was said that she was buying guns and selling guns to minors. Throw her ass under the jail. And here's the thing, I'm a criminal justice reformer. I support a second chance, but when you come into my community and you an adult, you 35 years old, and you gonna sell guns to a minor, oh yeah, we need to throw you all the way up under the jail and make an example out of you for anybody who might ever think about it. If you gonna come into my hood and give tools of destruction to kids that you know don't have the brain power and the brain development, I should say, to make right decisions, we need to prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. Anybody else? Okay, I ain't heard from you today. What's up?
All right, guys, this is going to be the last question.
Last one. So you know, like that's a big deal. You got the last question. So it's like, don't make this a trash question because everybody gonna look at you like, you got the last question. It's like, no, I'm playing with you. Go ahead. What's your name, brother? Say it one more time. Aiden. What's up, Aiden? Yeah. So one of the first things that we're going to do is fight back any discrimination legislation. That's like the first thing that we have to do, is to make sure that none of that stuff becomes law. I think the other thing that we got to do is allow people to just be people. Like, just let people be people. Love who you want to love. Like, that's where I'm at with it. I'm on some do what you want to do. Like, as long as just don't hurt nobody else, do what you want to do. It's not, because here's the thing. Like, it's not about, because what my friends on the other side of the aisle try to hit you with is, oh, you're promoting this. I ain't promoting nothing. I'm just saying, be you, and whoever that is. That's it. And everybody should be protected. That's really the long and the short end for me. It's been real rocking with y'all. I appreciate your attention. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I'll talk to y'all soon.